Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mixed Adventures Together. I'm your host, Andrea, and I'm doing a little bit of a solo one just to do a bit of a life update and just seeing where I'm at. I've made some big changes in the new year. So thanks for joining me today on this podcast. In previous podcast episodes, I've talked a lot about how I do not like New Year's resolutions. I've never been able to follow through with one, and that still holds true. I have not changed my stance. But it was very interesting that a couple of big things came into reality for me in January, early January, and I had to make some really big changes. And it's so funny because I will see these people on Instagram and see their life choices, and it's like, quit my job and now I'm a billionaire, like all these crazy ideas happening just because they decided to pursue happiness. And so I came across a couple of things that happened. One was I was at work and early January this year, and I was just something happened and it just triggered me, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Which was interesting because I still love teaching. I still love children, and I want to work with children forever. If I can, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go back into a teaching classroom, but the role that I currently held, I just wasn't feeling it anymore. I didn't feel like that was my true path. And I literally called Joe on my lunch break and said, hey, you need to talk me out of not quitting right now, because I just, for some reason, just don't want to be here anymore. There's a very strong urge. And then just that following Monday, something happened over the weekend that really put a lot of things in perspective for me and really solidified my decision to put in my resignation. It was a really, really difficult decision to make. I have been working for this same company since 2004. Started off as a kindergarten teacher. I'm just worked my way up. And here I am with like a 19-year career, and I am walking away from it. And the scariest part is, like, I didn't have a backup plan. I don't have a backup plan. I didn't have a job already in the wings waiting for me when I put in my resignation. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent the next month. I didn't have a plan, and it seemed like the most illogical thing ever to do. But I did it. I put in my resignation. Now, it didn't come out of the blue. I have been thinking about a career change for a while. Part of it, I truly believe, was because of my grief, losing my mother. Just really struggling with that. I'm one of those people who, if I can't do my best job, then I shouldn't be doing that job. I know it seems kind of almost like I don't know how to put it. It feels to me that people in this world do a job even if they're not good at it. And I don't have those same values. For me, you do the job that you're good at. And I'm a good teacher. And I moved into a management role, and of course, it's a brand new role for me, and I had a lot to learn, and I was willing to learn it. But then when it was time to actually execute it, I didn't think I did such a great job. Didn't get the fulfillment that I used to get out of working in a classroom. And so it was already in the back of my mind. And then when my mother passed away, it was just like, I kept saying to my therapist, I just want to be happy. That feeling of being lost, feeling of despair, feeling of nothingness, numbness. And I really was just like, for the past year and a half, I was just like, I haven't been happy. I just want to be happy. Like, that seems like such a big goal in life is I just want to be happy. I have these two wonderful kids. Joe's so supportive. I, however, have not been happy for over a year. And that broke my heart when I finally in tears broke down to my therapist and was just telling her, like, I don't feel happy. Like, I'm nothing but numbness or despair for a year, and it wears down on you. It really does. There are some dark thoughts that you just go into, and I know I shared a little bit about that back in December, where these dark thoughts were creeping into my mind, and it really was starting to wear down on me. And so when things were just lining up at work the way they were, I decided this is one area that I can control, and I need to step down and focus on finding my happiness. Part of that was also recognizing how withdrawn from my family I was. How I was not an active participant in my family. I was a bystander. I was an organizer of events, but I didn't enjoy the events that I organized. I was living in the same house, but I was a shadow. I was off to the side. Oftentimes, Joe and the kids would be together and enjoying a game or something, and I would just be in the corner. If I was invited into the game, or if I, allowed myself to participate in the game, there was no joy in it. Part of that was because I was tired. I was so depressed and tired, and I saved all of my energy for work. Because again, I'm one of those people, you go to work, you do the best you can. And so I saved a lot of my energy for work. It took a toll on my health. And honestly, since the past year and a half, I've put on almost 50 pounds. Just not taking care of myself. I stopped. I was in survival mode, 110%. I didn't care anymore about myself. I put all of my energy into work, and then whatever was left over went into Joe and the kids, and I saved nothing for myself. Not a single thing. So as a result of that, as much as Joe and I have always been such a great partner, a great team, we had a hiccup. We had some problems, and it resulted in me kind of having a little bit of a breakdown of me saying, I can't do this anymore. Something's breaking. It's not like eventually something's going to break. No, it's breaking right now. And it's either going to be my mental health, my marriage, or my job. So which one's important, and how can I save the others? Which one can I put my energy into? So I really did stop and reflect. Oh, I'm starting to cry. I'm being so honest with you all. I stopped and I reflected on what was most important. And number one, I always think back to when you fly on an airplane, what do the flight attendants always say? Put your own mask on first before you help anybody else. So for me, I said, it's me. I've got to take care of myself. I've got to start focusing on me and my happiness. I just want to be happy. And it's the simplest request. And you can't find happiness in other people. You have to find it in yourself. I'm going to be a good wife. I want to be a good mother, but I can't be any of those things unless I myself am happy. And so I thought, where is the one area that takes me away from my happiness? And it was my job. And so I had to make the decision. I have to make more time for me, and eventually more time for my children, more time for my husband. I've got to take more time for me first, though. And so I resigned my position. I thought I just can't do my best anymore. not in, and give myself 110%. And it wasn't fair to me anymore. And it's not fair to my employer if I'm not going in and doing my best every single day. I 100% believe that. Like, it's not okay to go in and half-ass it. That's not how it works. It's not okay for me. So I stepped down. It was a terrifying decision. I cried while I was turning in my resignation. Again, 19 years working with this company, doing what I love. And I said, I just can't do it right now. I hope maybe one day I can, after I'm healthy and I've worked on myself and I've made these improvements, that I can go back to it. It's my comfort zone. But this is an opportunity for me to challenge myself, to focus on myself, to get healthy. I think that was been my big push for myself in the past few months, is my mental health. I just want to make that a huge priority. And in doing so, that means giving myself more time. It was a very illogical decision, it felt like, but it was the right one. Illogical meaning like, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to, put food on the table? Those are just like reality of, obviously every single person has to answer those same questions. And I didn't know how to answer those questions. I still, not 100% certain how I'm answering those questions, but I know that I'm making a decision and that I don't regret it. Moving forward, I've got to be more budget conscious. Andrea tends to be a spender. I'm going to be less of a spender. Really hoping I can figure out the budget thing. But I have a positive outlook. Now, anyone who knows me 100% knows that I believe in like the spirits and like psychics and mediums, and I believe that messages from God come in so many different forms that you can't ignore when someone's speaking to you. Sorry, Nigel's walking around. And it was a couple of times I've gotten these messages that I just felt came from God, and they were supporting my decision to leave my job. One happened during, just the idea of so many times during my depression where I could hear a voice. I could hear the voice saying, like, you need to take a step back. You need to take care of yourself. Don't wear yourself down. And I didn't listen to that voice. I didn't listen at all. But then Joe and I went to a fair. We took the kids to a fair around Halloween time in October. And it was actually a Dia de los Muertos celebration. So it was the end of October. And they had a tarot card reader there. And we thought, oh, this will be fun. Like, it was free reading. We had a little Dia de los Muertos, carnival. Let's do it. let's try this out. So we go up to her and she says to me, you have a decision you need to make. She says, but the only thing stopping you from making that decision is yourself. There's no one holding you back. There's no one tying your hands down. You just need to make the decision. And you know what decision to make. You know it's the right decision to make. You know it's the right decision for you. But you just won't make it. She's like, you won't make it maybe because you're afraid. Maybe because it's different. Maybe it's going to take you out of your comfort zone. She says, but you have no reason not to make this decision. You can do it. And when you do it, you will be happy. And it was crazy. Joe and I just looked at each other and we were like, we know exactly what you're talking about. because of course it'd been bouncing around in my head like, oh, should I resign from my job? Should I try something else? What should I do? I'm not happy. How can I make myself happy? What am I going to do? Of course, Joe and I have been having these conversations. And so when she said that to me, I mean, she didn't say like, oh, you're going to win the lotto. You're going to win $1 million. She just said, you have a decision to make and no one else can make this decision but you. What is stopping you from making this decision? It is the right decision to make. You will be happier. I mean, she was saying everything that I needed to hear. And it still scared the crap out of me. I was like, oh my gosh, no, she is 100% telling me to make my decision that I am the only one who's stopping myself from finding my own happiness. No one else is stopping me from finding my own happiness. I'm sorry, Nigel's deciding he's got to play. Like, no one else is stopping me from being happy except for myself. I can get I need to seek therapy. I need to make these decisions only for myself. Like, no one else can do that for me. No one else can tell me, hey, Andrea, you need to take care of your health. You need to go for a walk. You need to eat healthier. No one else can make that decision for me. No one else can say, Andrea, you need to resign from your job. No one else can say, Andrea, you need to focus on you. No one else can say any of those things. Only I can say those things. And I was too scared to say it. And so having her read my tarot cards that day was, oh my gosh, it was so scary. Because, I mean, she was just putting it out, literally laying the cards on the table. Make a decision. And she said, you will make a decision. And oddly enough, she said, it'll happen in the new year. It's not going to happen right now. It's going to happen in the new year. You'll make a decision and you'll be happy. And darned if, after I resigned, I did remind Joe. I was like, remember we talked to that tarot card reader? Remember what she said? I said, I'm doing it. I'm making a decision. And he was like, all right, let's make this decision. I support you. Let's do it. And so I thought that was interesting. And then I have one of my good friends from college, who was also a psychic, just advisor, life coach. She's amazing. She was just doing a reading on her Instagram page, and I happened to scroll through it, and gosh darn it, did it not speak to me? Did it not speak to me? I was like, oh my gosh. And I haven't spoken to her. I haven't told her anything about what's happening. And if her reading did not resonate with me, did not affirm my decision, if it did not tell me that I had made the right decision, I mean, I just don't know how else to explain it, that it felt like she was reading those cards for me. That it was all about, you have made a decision and it is going to lead you to more growth in your life. It's going to lead you to, developing new skills. It's going to lead you to happiness. It's going to lead you to, you are going to have guides helping you along the way. You are not alone in making this decision. You've made the decision, but you have support behind you. You have people who are going to reach out to you, who are going to welcome you. And I was just like, oh my goodness. That reading was for me. And of course I messaged her right away and I told her, I was like, you're talking to me. I said, I just literally resigned my job and I don't know what the future looks like and I'm scared. But you just told me that I made the right choice. You just told me that the good things are going to come my way. You just told me that not only am I making this decision, but I'm not alone. There are people with me. There are guides with me. People are going to help me figure this out. And I'll tell you, even here I am a few days away from turning 42 and the world is freaking scary. And I don't want to be alone in making these decisions and making these, trying these new things and, those kind of things. There's always more people who have more experience. There's more people out there who have more knowledge. And I just felt like those people are going to come into my life and they're going to share that knowledge and they're going to share their experience and they're going to help me be successful moving forward. I don't know what that success looks like. I don't know. I used to be able to see my future very clearly. Like I knew exactly, like I said previously podcast, like I have goals and they're like 5 years out. I don't have a goal right now. I had a goal. It changed. I had a goal back in December. Now, here we are, a few days to February, and I don't know what my goals are anymore. I don't know what I want to do. But that's the exciting part. That's the exciting part, is I get to figure it out. I get to figure out, what am I going to do? What do you want to do now? What do you want to try? Definitely want to try more with the podcasting. The kids and Joe really want to try YouTube. But it's like, now, what's holding you back? Nothing. Nothing's holding me back. Be open to new choices and new adventures, new opportunities. Say yes to things. Don't say no. Don't be scared. You can figure it out. I've always been one with consistency. You have to have a job. You have to have this. These are just things you have to have. And now it's like, I don't have it. So what do I do now? That's one thing where I started talking to my mom more. My mom was always that person who was like, Andrea, as long as you have a job. But now I'm telling her, Mom, I don't have a job. What do I, now what? What do I do now? And the voice is a little quiet. The voice is still there. But it is more like, my mom always told me, don't stay home. That was one thing. Don't miss out on life. Don't miss life. Don't miss out on adventures. That was the one thing that I will always remember. My mother always told me, if you have a chance to go and do something new, go and do it. Don't get trapped at home. Don't get stuck in your comfort zone. Go and do it. Go live your life. And that's what I'm going to leave you all with today, is don't get stuck at home. Go live your life. Go seek out your adventure wherever it looks like. Don't get stuck behind. Don't get left behind. Life is beautiful and we can be happy. We deserve to be happy. I deserve to be happy. Friends, thank you so much for listening to me. We are about to head off on our adventure this February, heading off on our Disney cruise. And then, who knows what comes after that. I'll definitely keep you updated. And hopefully I'll get Joe back on this podcast soon. I feel like I've been doing a bunch of solos recently. He needs to get back into gear here. He does all of the editing and posting it on the different sites. But yeah, he needs to come and record a podcast. Let's hear it for Joe. Joe. You guys have a wonderful day. Actually, today's his birthday. I'm recording this. It's 8:56 p.m. on his birthday. We had a great day with the kids and him, hanging out and doing all that jazz. So happy birthday, Joe! When you edit this, you'll hear our wishes for you. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at mixed_adventures together. And we'll see you next time. Bye.